For my bachelorette celebration, my friends organized a private ghost hunting experience that she stumbled upon. I was a mix of nervous and thrilled, having encountered spirits throughout my life. But those tales are for another time. Our adventure led us to a historic church in Pennsylvania, undergoing restoration. We began our exploration in the cemetery, where I noticed shadows moving about as we toured, yet they vanished whenever I tried to focus on them directly. As we ventured inside the church, the ground level revealed nothing out of the ordinary, prompting us to explore the upper floor. There, an overwhelming urge to return downstairs took hold of me. To avoid alarming my two companions, I mentioned feeling dizzy from the building's uneven structure and suggested we head back down. One friend joined me, and once we were safely downstairs, she quietly inquired, "You sensed something up there too, right?" I admitted I had, and together, we waited for the others to join us, alongside one of the ghost hunting guides. Next, we ventured into the basement, which turned out to be the center of our paranormal experiences. Initially, two from our group approached a hallway at the rear and stood facing the boiler room door. During this time, an unseen presence startled my sister, causing her to gasp and swiftly return to the main area. Meanwhile, a couple of us were seated on a bench beside a switched-off air conditioning unit. It being autumn, neither heating nor cooling was necessary, with my sister on the floor near us. We attempted to communicate with the spirit of a young girl using a flashlight we had set up in the kitchen area of the basement. While I was speaking, we detected tapping sounds coming from a door leading to one of the peripheral rooms. An investigator checked the room, posing a couple of questions but received no answers. Resuming my dialogue, we then heard taps from another room nearer to the kitchen, yet investigating it yielded no results either. As I began to pose my own questions, the flashlight began to flicker on and off in response. Another investigator suggested that the spirit of the little girl might have a fondness for the Itsy Bitsy Spider song. I sang the tune, and intriguingly, the flashlight illuminated with each sung word and dimmed during pauses. Following our rendition, a loud crash was heard from the bench across the air conditioning unit. This startled my friend into jumping onto me, leading to a burst of laughter among us, and we noticed a camera had been toppled. Though there might be a logical explanation for the fallen camera, none came to mind, especially considering we were in the basement where there were no drafts, and the bench was actually a ledge supporting the inactive AC unit. Following several hours of attempts to communicate, yielding responses solely from the young girl, we concluded the effort for the night and retreated to our hotel. Exhaustion clouded any recollection of peculiar occurrences that evening. We were simply too drained. However, the subsequent evening presented a startling encounter within the comfort of my own bedroom. Awakened by the soft utterance of my name, a consequence of my light sleeping habits, I directed my gaze toward the foot of my bed. There, an apparition of a little girl perched, her eyes meeting mine as she inquired, "May I call you parent?" In response, albeit with a gentle tone, I declined, explaining her need to find peace beyond this realm. My refusal was not out of malice, but stemmed from a deep-seated apprehension towards the idea of a spirit embodying any future offspring. Over time, I occasionally noticed her silhouette meandering the corridor outside my bedroom, making her way to the unused bathroom. Eventually, a month passed, and her visits ceased altogether. This story unfolds from my experience at the Myrtles, a location famed within the pages of the Ghost Diaries, which sparked my curiosity to visit. At the age of 15, my adventure to the Myrtles began, and now at 17, my sensitivity to the spectral has only intensified. Skepticism might meet my claim, yet, I assure you, the Myrtles harbors a peerless essence. Upon our arrival, a wave of unease and shyness overtook me. Advancing towards the entrance with my family, an oppressive weight descended upon my chest, making it difficult to even cross the threshold. The reality of the place was just as the book had described. The staircase, the back veranda, and even the famed peach room, where I stayed, all matched the descriptions to a T. It was just me, my cousins, and my aunt, and we managed to snugly fit into a single bed. Our stay lasted a week or two, and I cherished every moment of it. Positioned in one of the most supernaturally active dwellings, I was eager to document, photograph, and explore more. My initial visit was to meet Chloe, the young woman historically connected to the house. She made her presence known to me, though my relatives saw nothing, which I found extraordinary. I even captured an EVP recording of her greeting, albeit a bit muffled. She consented to my taking photos, one of which I still possess. Another encounter was with the spirit known to frequent the stairwell. Though his name escapes me, his visage does not. He appeared to appreciate my interest in him and even posed beside me for a photo. A presence I felt and later confirmed in the photograph. My interactions didn't stop there. The young girls of the house also kept me company, seeming to enjoy the interaction. Despite the curious glances from other guests, my focus remained undeterred. Our evening was spent in deep conversation on the rear porch, where we noticed a ghostly figure occupying one of the seats. Courteously, we inquired if we might sit alongside, to which the apparition consented. Throughout our dialogue, my curiosity was piqued by another spectral presence in a nearby rocker. Prepared as always, I had my notepad, pencil, EVP recorder, and camera at the ready. I respectfully asked the apparition if I could pose a few questions, receiving an affirmative response. The entity offered several replies, and I managed to capture its likeness in a sketch to the best of my ability. Eager for a photograph, I was about to proceed when the figure vanished, leaving me somewhat disheartened. Nevertheless, the quality of my sketch offered some consolation. During our stay in the peach room, I found myself nestled between my relatives, with my younger cousin to one side, another cousin close in age to me on the outer edge, and my aunt furthermost. An unusual event occurred around 2:45 a.m. that night. Despite our habit of sleeping quietly without much movement, I noticed my cousin's blanket continuously shifting, being pulled up and then loosened, as if by unseen hands. This phenomenon was unsettling, to say the least. Compelled by curiosity and a bit of fear, I used my phone to capture the scene. The blanket seemed to have a life of its own, alternating between covering and exposing him. Shortly after, a shadowy figure seemed to exit the room. I eventually fell back asleep around 2:56 a.m., but not before my phone recorded even more peculiar occurrences. Additional shadows moving, the relentless adjustment of the blanket, and the bathroom light flickering on and off autonomously. The experience was as terrifying as it was fascinating. I continued to document the increasing paranormal occurrences, capturing a white mist that enveloped the room. It seemed unaware of my vigilance, as I kept my eyes nearly closed to appear asleep. The mist gradually drifted across each of us, starting with my cousins, then my aunt, and finally me. Throughout the night, my name was called out multiple times, though only on a couple of occasions was it my younger cousin needing assistance. The most unsettling moment came on our final day. While loading the car, the sound of something scratching on wood caught my attention. Returning to collect my investigative gear, I discovered the initials MP inscribed in an archaic cursive on my notepad, a clue I interpreted as Myrtle Plantation. I plan to revisit the plantation on May 20, 2014, to continue my investigation.